Hey all, welcome back to Ape or Die Trying. Today I'm going to go over taxes on Terra and why it's important, why I spend time doing it, and how I actually try to automate and do it in the most simplified manner. There is no 100% automated solution today, but with what Stake.tax has been doing, it's made it a lot easier if you combine it with other platforms like Koinly. So let's go into it. So the first question is why tax, right? I think a lot of people I see on the forums say, hey, crypto's decentralized. The whole point of this is for me to go into the darkness, not pay taxes. Well, the reality is it's the opposite. Everything can be tracked even better with blockchains, especially Terra. So in the US, your on-ramp as of May 2021 is supposed to report 10K worth of purchases or more. So I mean, that's the total that you need to start purchasing, and then they report that out to the IRS. And then if the IRS has one of your transactions, then they can just go ahead and track everything down to every single degen transaction that you made. So they can see everything that you did, and then if they catch you, and you're not reporting your taxes, you're in a pretty bad spot. So I'm listing out the three cases that I can think of. And again, this isn't financial advice. This is just what I do and what fits me the most. So the worst case is you can't degen from jail, right? You evade these taxes. It's pretty clear if you get one transaction, you have hundreds of thousands, if not millions of profit from your cryptos. Then they're going to say, hey, you're just flagrantly doing fraud, not paying your taxes, doing tax evasion, and then guess what? You're Wesley Snipes in jail. Most likely case is they can do all the calculations and then start charging huge fines against you. There's a lot of gray area on how to do the calculations, but if it's enough money and it's worth the time, they're going to deploy their people against you and really figure out how much you owe. And then once they figure out how much you owe, it's going to be taxes on penalties, interest on interest, and that just adds up over time. And then the very unlikely cases, you just gamble and then you get away with it. You can only hide for so long. Again, you might think, oh, I can open up multiple wallets, I can stay in the dark. Every time you make a transfer over, that's another connection that they can follow. Cool. So now that we know, why tax, let's go ahead and jump into the solution. So if you go to the documentation, the use cases that get handled for Luna out of box by Stake.tax is a good amount of them. So I mean, generally it handles airdrops, a lot of the swaps depending if the currency is available on Koinly, the staking rewards, transfers, votes, all the fees involved with it. Most of the Anchor protocol use cases, you'll see, the bonding and unbonding. That piece we'll have to do manual workarounds for. And then mirror protocol, a lot of the items in there. If you're like me and you like to ape hard, then we use a lot more protocols other than this. I'll make a future video. We'll cover how I do a lot of the workarounds to handle that, to handle a lot of the liquidity pools. But in this, it's going to be just focusing on the major use case of using Anchor, depositing in, bonding, unbonding, repaying, etc. So here's an overview of all the steps we're going to go through. The first step that I'll walk you through is you have to go to Koinly.com. If you don't have an account, go ahead and create a free one. You'll only have to pay if you want to generate your tax report, but you can go ahead and just mess around with it and see if your transactions import correctly. So it's good to just make that account. Then after that, you're going to need to add a custom Terra wallet to Koinly, and then that's the wallet that represents your actual Terra wallet. So for each Terra wallet that you have, you're going to create a separate wallet. So I'll walk you through how to do that. Then you'll download the CSVs from going to Stake.tax. The link is in the description. You're going to need to download two versions of it. One's going to be the default, one's going to be the Koinly format. You'll see what that is when I show it to you. Then you'll upload the Koinly format to your Koinly wallet, and then that'll import all of your transactions. And then once they get in, you want to just make sure that you're doing some spot checks, that everything transferred in as it needs to, and then after that, you're done. So one shout out that I want to make is to Stake.tax. I DM them all the time, gave a lot of feedback, and then also got some good guidance from them as well as I was putting this video together. But they're doing it all for free behind the scenes. They're taking donations, so if you get a chance, definitely donate whatever you can. This is huge because I wouldn't be able to mess around with Terra as much as possible without this. You can also follow them on Twitter as well, by clicking here. All right, let's jump into it. Now I'll go to Koinly. So now I'm going to go ahead and add a new wallet. So you see I have a couple different wallets in here already. Let me go ahead and delete this one. Yeah, that was one I was just testing around with, but I will be adding the same one in. So you'll see with Terra that there's not an actual wallet inside here for them. So you can type it in, see for yourself. See Terra, nothing happens. Try Luna, nothing happens as well. It's because it's not natively supported by Koinly at this point, but there's a way to get around that. So for this, I'm going to put in one of my test wallets that I need to bring some of the transactions in. So you see nothing pops up, but you get this create custom archived. Go ahead, click that. I'll create without data. There you go. Looks like there's no back button here, so I'll go ahead and punch in Koinly again. Ooh, that's annoying. Okay, looks like I'm back in. I go to my wallets, and I have all of this, which is nice. Now, what I want to do here is go ahead and download the transactions. So let's go ahead and download some transactions on Stake.tax. Type in your wallet, make sure you're on the Luna tab. Click search, it'll look it up. Again, this takes a little while. So just wait for it, there you go, it's finished. So click in open CSV. There's always two types of files that I want to download. So I'll check, make sure this is all good. If you're looking in here, you'll see, right here it says taxable. These are the only items that I'll bring into the Koinly file, and then the rest of them will be in the default file. So first I'll download the default one. Let's give it a good name, test wallet, and then let's say this one has all transactions. And then today's date. Okay. Then I'll go back and do the same. Choose Koinly. Use the same name, but I'll call this one Koinly. There you go. Those are both saved. So I'll go ahead and jump into Google. So you'll see here, this is the Koinly output file, and then this is the all output file. So you'll notice that they're formatted differently. This one is a default, so it has everything. You can filter, and then on the Koinly one, it will just have those specific ones that it'll import. So this one's nice because you can just go ahead and import it directly in. So let's go ahead and do that. I'll click File, Download, here's the CSV. And make sure it's named something that's useful. So upload file. There you go. So now I can jump back to Koinly, click into the wallet that I just made, and then here click import file. And then I can drag a drop or click that. It is upload file. These settings you'll leave as the same. Click import. And now it'll run. You'll see that 13 were added correctly. Looks like it didn't miss some. I've had some bigger ones that go in, and then I've had some errors on some. So the important piece now is really understanding what got imported and what didn't get imported. So if we look here, it looks like there's definitely some UST being sent, some Luna that's being sent as well. But if we read in chronological order, looks like I transferred $100 to myself, used 90 UST to get 14 Luna. Wow, that's incredible price. I wish we could still get that. Received another 22 UST from borrowing. Deposited it in the earn. Got 20 AUST. Borrowed some more. 11 UST. Repaid here, 6 UST. And then withdrew some AUST into UST. And then took the UST and then sent it out to repay some of the loan. And then I had my Luna left, and then I sent that out and closed up the wallet. So essentially what I was doing here was I was testing out one of the bots, and I just wanted to see if it could support my anchor and then be able to repay, and it looks like it was automatically able to do that. But I only use this account once, so I wanted to go ahead and shut it down. But we still need to account for that. So if we go to the all sheet, you'll see here that the main ones that it brought in chronological order was, they don't have the underscore in front of them. The transfer to myself, the bonding Luna, the purchasing of Luna. The bonding of Luna, it skipped, which I'm fine with, but we just have to make sure, if we're getting more Luna, then that's going to be reported as income. And then depositing the collateral, it skipped. Here's the borrows that we saw before. The depositing into Anchor, these it all got. Withdrawing the collateral of Luna, it didn't report that. But again, I started with 14.39. Now I have 14.56 Luna. I can't convert it one-to-one to Luna, but it'll take 21 days. So that's how I'll just recognize that, hey, I had 14.39 Luna, but now I have 14.56 Luna. I skipped the whole trying to track Luna as a currency inside Koinly. And then this is transferring both the Luna and the UST to another wallet. So there you go. I think this is a good example of, out of box, all of the very basic items that we use it for, such as anchor, are covered pretty well. I'd say the one thing that's missing here is going to be the amount of extra Luna that I got. So we see that this transfer is sent there, but I'm transferring Luna here and not Luna. So then that has to be reconciled back of, hey, I started off with Luna. It still thinks that I have that Luna, but in actuality it's this Luna. So let's jump into the wallet and see what that looks like. Go to the transactions tab here. So you see that it says there's missing Luna. So essentially what I need to do here is, again, get that Luna here, recognize that when I converted to Luna, I earned some additional Luna, and then treat this like Luna as it goes out. So the first thing I can do is just go ahead and jump in here, change this over to Luna. There you go. So that's a little hack workaround. But you'll see that now I didn't have that Luna to begin with. So it's going to be missing that. So what I'll need to do is I need to put a transaction in for the difference. So let's go back to that output file. Let's do some quick math. I got this much Luna, but I started with this much Luna. So that's essentially what I got as a income. So I'll go here. Let's go ahead and add a transaction. Deposit. So here I'll choose income. Choose a date. So that event happened on (5/31/2021). Okay, received it in here. I got Luna. How much did I get? I got this much. And then we can go to the historic prices. So we can use something like coin market cap. I'll put that link in the description as well. Type in Luna, see what pops up here. And what we want to do is basically look for the price on that day. So year to date, 5/31. You can go down to the exact hour, but I think an approximate's good enough. So here it looks like it's 6.1236. So again, I can go back to my sheet. It was 6.1236. So I multiply this times this, and then that gives me how much it was worth that day, that amount that I received. So that's essentially, the fair market value. So I go ahead and click worth here, do it in US dollars because it's pegged to UST. And then I'll go ahead and save that. Cool, so we should see everything hopefully work out correctly here. Let me go ahead and hit refresh. So you see, I started off with Luna. Got that as income. It's fine, it's all on the same day. But here I transferred $100 to myself, bought Luna, bonded that, received this much extra Luna. So if you combine these two, then it should be roughly around, or the exact amount that's getting sent out at this point. So you'll see here then that there's no more error that says, hey, we're missing when this was purchased. So those two should reconcile out completely. There you go. That's how you input all your transactions in. You just have to make sure you spot check like that and do any of the manual bonding and put those transactions in. Okay, take care.